Welcome, Tag Fu. What?
Oh, yeah.
The first, first and only podcast of people eating stuff. I'm Mike Lisk.
Hello, everybody. Welcome again to another episode of Egg Food. What? I thought you were working on your dramatic pregnant pauses. Now it looks like you're just screaming.
Well, I've used the pauses in the beginning of the show. I'm going to save some pauses for later in the show.
Oh, the tease.
Yeah, suspense. It's called suspense.
Speaking of the beginning of the show, let me take 30 seconds to pat ourselves on the back. At least we jump into our podcast. Have you heard these podcasts? They take forever to get to the topic or the interview or the person.
Well,
it's insane.
Well, we have been accused, and there was somebody had posted a comment on YouTube. I saw it, but then I guess they took it off. And the comment was that we should leave the time signature for when we eventually start talking about the food.
Oh, good. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Should I come to this person's house and get their food for them too? How much easier can we make it for them? So,
but my response was going to be that we would never do that because that's the whole suspense of the show. I mean, you don't know where it's going to appear. And sometimes we'll surprise you.
Yeah, I'm sorry our other chat is bothering whoever this person is. My sincere apologies.
Yeah, they just want to get to the food chat. Well, they don't want to hear about death and the replacements and the Beatles.
The good news for this person is there's thousands of other podcasts they can enjoy. So, and some of them, like I tried to listen to this Adam Scott one. He's talking to some buddy of his about Springsteen.
Okay.
And we all love Adam Scott. So I'm like, oh, I'll see what 50 minutes go by before the word Springsteen or Born in the USA, whatever they talking about, even comes up. I'm like, there's too many podcasts. Do people still think that's a good idea? Let's do our inside chitter chat for 30 minutes. I mean, give Mark Maron credit. He does it, but at least he made a joke about, he's self-aware enough to make a joke on a show one time, on his TV show. And he also has where you can skip exactly to 15 minutes and that's when it starts. Let's give ourselves credit. We just jump in and start talking. We don't have a lot of, preamble bullshit nonsense like all these other ones. So.
Well, for the people, who are waiting for the food talk, you may be calling the kettle black because sometimes it takes a while before we get to the dish.
Is that why people act? I mean, it's such a small part of the show, though. I'm talking about like, hey, today we have we have Paul McCartney on, but we're going to talk for 40 minutes before we talk to Paul McCartney. It's like, come on, bro. There's too much shit to come on. Just jump in.
Yeah,
keep going.
But there apparently there is a segment. Like I said, I saw this comment. So maybe there are people who are just here for the food talk and not for the blah, blah, blah.
Well, whoever those are, write to me. I will come to your house and move this bar to where it make it super easy for you.
How about this? Let's get right to the food talk. That's
how they win, Mike.
Let's give the foodies. We haven't gotten to the food talk right at the beginning. I mean, you sent me a photo. And I wish
I'm on cloud 9. Speaking of food, by the way.
So yeah, I'm in this gray zone where I need a break from the Chinese takeout, and I'm trying to think of ways to engage Greg. It's not easy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying ways to engage or ways to engage Greg?
Engage Greg in discussions about food.
Is that hard to do, to get me talking about food?
Yeah, I thought you would open up, but I'm like, let me just throw him a bone, and we'll send him on a chicken nuggets journey, and we'll get into the minutia of the chicken nuggets. Your theory that chicken nuggets are made better at Chinese takeout places.
Yes.
And we'll compare some of the nuggets at fast food joints to the Chinese takeout.
I think it would only strengthen our case that Chinese food, enough's enough. Stop with all the thousands of stuff on the menu. Focus on your nuggets because they're amazing at them.
Yeah. Well, we had our taste of I would have laughed at that until I went to California and saw that there is a chicken nuggets fast food joint that people are lined up every night at this place. What was the name of it? I've already forgotten.
Oh,
it was like a name, right?
Insert name and editing here.
Insert name.
Just move your lips so it looks like you're saying
it was good, but it was, the sauce was kind of what made it, and you had to pay extra for the sauce. So now you suggested McDonald's nugget. We're gonna start with the.
Let's explain. So we're gonna each week for the next few weeks we're gonna do the McNuggets from the various fast food places, which are hard to like. They're not around me. They're not within walking distance to me either. So it's a little hard, but so yeah, we're starting with the OG McDonald's.
I didn't look into the history of the chicken nugget. Is McDonald's chicken nugget the first chicken nugget?
It's the first, nationwide chain one. Anyway, I don't know if they invented the chicken nugget. I know they came out in 1983, big 40th year anniversary.
Okay. 1983. Okay.
And they've always had even when they're not great, they have that weird crust that comes right up. Like when I was a kid, I mean, right up until today, sometimes I'll peel the skin off with my teeth and eat the skin separately from the chicken, if the chicken's good. And then I had a dream scenario where take the skin off, but keep it whole and stuff things in the skin like stuffing, like literally sausage stuffing. I think in the McNugget casing.
Like what would you stick in there?
Like stuffing, like sausage stuffing.
Sausage stuffing.
Yeah. Or just sausage. Whatever, anything, Mike.
Okay.
Pimento cheese. Live your life, Mike. Oysters. I don't know.
But so there's something wrong with the chicken in there. That has
I'm saying
that has to be removed.
As a little next level, if you want to try it.
Yeah.
But sometimes that skin is just so perfect. Keep it encased, keep it intact. Put a little something in it. That's all. Otherwise, I don't mind popping them normally. Now, I'm not a kid. When I was a youngster, I could pop off the 20 box.
Oh, wow.
No problem. Now, it's a problem. I can't remember the last time I tried. I remember when I was like maybe 15. We were driving somewhere. I was with friends, and I had like 20 bucks on me or something. And going into town, I got 20-piece McNuggets, and then we like dicked around in the mall or whatever. Leaving town, boom, another 20.
Gross.
What?
That is disgusting.
Excuse me?
Yeah, that's disgusting. 15. I mean, here's the thing. So yeah, so I was going to do it wasn't that inconvenient for me, but I did discover that all my Chinese takeout places, I'm not in chicken nuggets territory. I'm in chicken fingers territory. I mean, there was one place when we did chicken nuggets earlier. I went to that place, and I didn't want to go back there. I wanted to try the chicken fingers at my favorite Chinese takeout place, Howell Kitchen. And it's on the same side of Route 9 that the McDonald's is on. So I got to map this out geographically.
Run from cages on Highway 9.
So
you say Route 9 because you're tired of the Springsteen stuff? Like if you say Highway 9, do you know you're just going to get it from Jersey?
I never called it Highway 9.
Well, maybe you're not really Jersey.
He doesn't. He calls it Highway 9. I didn't even think about that until now.
Why am I the one explaining Bruce to you?
I thought he called it Route 9.
And it sprung from cages on Highway 9. Sprung from cages on Highway 9. Oh, all
right. He needed another. He needed another syllable, so he went for highway.
All right.
But
you would call Bruce out on his bullshit. I'm sure he'd love to hear it.
I never called it Highway 9. I call it Route 9 because that's the name of the highway.
Well, maybe that's why you're not the boss.
I guess so. That was it. That's where I went wrong. But anyway, so I go to McDonald's first.
Hold on. I'm sorry. Let's do this. Do you remember the first time you did have McDonald's McNuggets? I do.
No. It- the chicken McNugget is not a significant thing in my life the way it is
Oh,
with you.
I'm sorry.
I'm glad.
I wasn't raised at Buckingham Palace. Excuse me.
No,
Sorry.
I went to McDonald's, but I was there for burgers. And
I
well, we're gonna
remember.
get to what you ordered. I mean, that thing was an atrocity. You
No,
sent me a photo.
I got good news for you, Mike.
Let's focus on the Nuggets first.
The
Well,
first.
we'll get to that later.
Okay.
So yeah, I picked up the Nuggets. I actually got a quarter pounder with cheese because I think that's the only burger worth getting at McDonald's now.
Ooh, editorializing. All right.
And I got a small French fry. And there was an article I saw this week talking about how McDonald's was back in the black because they raised their prices, and they talked about how in different regions of the country, people are paying like $18 for a Big Mac value combo meal.
I'm calling
Which
bullshit on that. Is that Alaska?
no, Connecticut, Connecticut, which is
Mm,
a little yeah, some parts of Connecticut. But anyway,
mm,
so yeah,
mm,
no, my McDonald's was moderately priced. I got a quarter pounder with cheese to make the 6 piece. 6 piece was enough for me,
mhm,
and small fry, and that was about $11.
mhm.
How about you? Well, you got something different. What did you get?
Well, I got the 10-piece,
Mm-hmm.
but since I ordered on the mobile app, because it turns out there's one about half a mile down the street. So for lunch, I just bopped out. So I got my steps in. I did the mobile ordering, and it
Uh-huh.
turns out if you get a Big Mac or a quarter pounder or 10-piece McNuggets, you get one of the others for free.
Oh,
So
okay.
for a total of like, I don't know, $7, I got 10-piece McNuggets and a Big Mac.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you saw my picture of the Big Mac.
Yeah.
Have you, as a cherished Xmas Time fan over the years, and we
Mm-hmm.
thank you for
Mm-hmm.
your service, uh, I've griped for years about, I don't understand how the Big Mac has been so iconic when there's only one piece of cheese on it, which makes no sense.
Mm-hmm.
The bread, the integrity of the sandwich between the 3 pieces of bread, which is way too much, and the sauce, the thing instantly starts crumbling when you're trying to eat it. And the third thing is the circumference of the bun or the whole sandwich is the exact same as the width of the box. So to get to it, you got to dig along the sides. You're already starting to crush it, and then it starts crumbling before you've even picked it up, and then you got to flip it. So before you take it a bite, the sandwich, half of it's gone. The integrity is, and so I'm thinking, middle of the day, I don't want to eat all of that bread anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And so boom, something that wouldn't occur to me if I was ordering at the counter, it said no bun. So I said no bun, no sauce. This thing goes from being a 590 calorie sandwich carb bomb to whatever 590 minus 220 minus 140 is. And I thought they would just throw it in whatever the normal Big Mac box is. But as you see in the photo, they laid it out beautifully like a salad.
Yeah.
Lettuce. Let me say this about the McDonald's
Uh-huh.
here on 13. Give them a little extra. If you notice, and I'm going to post bleep out of this photo, whoever did it put the 3 little tomatoes such that it looks like 2 eyeballs and like a mouth, little smiley face. And let me tell you something.
Wait, what's the mouth?
The tomato, it's like 2 eyes and a mouth or nose, whatever you want to go. It looks like a face.
I did not see that.
So basically, I had a Big Mac salad. Now, are we calling it a healthy salad? No.
No,
But
you added an extra patty, didn't you?
and I got an extra patty, but it was still half the calories of the whole thing because the bun is half the calories and that sauce.
So there were 3 burgers in there.
3 patties and an extra slice of cheese, no sauce, no bun, Nowhere near the number of calories.
Lettuce and tomato.
Ton of lettuce. I got extra lettuce, extra tomatoes.
Oh, extra onions, you said too.
Extra onions, or as we call all that stuff, extra veggies. And I felt light as a feather. It was fantastic. I'm never getting a Big Mac again with the whole stupid big thing. This was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw how you had it configured, I'm thinking he went to the counter and laid this all down for somebody at a counter.
Yeah.
And you're saying you've never done that.
Not at the counter. I wouldn't be balls. Now, I'm super picky anyway, so I'm always like, can I get extra cheese, no pickle, this and that? Right. But I would never have the balls to say no bun. Mm-hmm. But if it's just pops on digitally, it's like, well, somebody's doing it. Boom. All right. I've never been happier after visiting McDonald's, because besides this Big Mac salad, which I think we just invented, that's another trademark for what? Ka-ching, McDonald's.
Yeah.
Whenever they're ready to start, let me tell you about these chicken McNuggets. I've had a lot of chicken McNuggets from McDonald's over my years. I'll give you a second to decide whether or not to believe that.
He just confirmed it for us.
I'm not joking. This batch, I cannot remember or conceive of a better batch right out of the oven. Perfect Christmas. Mm-hmm. Must have been right out of the oven or whatever they come from. This was a perfect. It's like we couldn't have scripted better.
No, your photo, and wait until you see my nuggets. I would say night and day.
Yeah, I've had some grungy looking nuggets. So
yeah, mine would qualify as grungy.
Yeah. I know. I've been there, bro.
But looking at your photo, it looks like a different item altogether. Your photo, there's a glow. There's a glow coming off those nuggets that I had to admit.
Yep.
Is very enticing compared to what I had.
As if from the golden arches themselves. Now, again, even as a connoisseur, I was blown away by how good they were. And I know I could go back right now, and the odds of that happening are slim to none.
Is this a relatively new McDonald's? I mean, is it?
It's been around long as I can remember.
It's been there a long time. Okay.
I think I just got lucky, because usually they're fine. Sometimes they're terrible. Never this good. It's like it was set up. It's like you called them to make sure they're great, so I wouldn't spend the whole show bitching about how much they suck. They were fantastic, overshadowed by the surprise Big Mac salad, which is how we're going to get our millions. I mean, this was the best trip ever to McDonald's. I skipped away. I did cartwheels.
I think to promote the show more, you're gonna have to do this Big Mac. You're gonna have to do a Big Mac salad video.
No problem.
We got to get that thing going viral.
Yep.
I mean, I see more viral idiocy going. I'm like, what are we doing wrong? What are we doing wrong? We've got some good stuff happening here. And these idiots, I saw something for how to recork a wine bottle. 3 million views by using a water bottle top to screw into a wine bottle. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
This is worth 3 million, 3 million views. But anyway, so yeah, I saw your photo. I'm like, what is that? What? I didn't see the price. What did you pay for that? For the
free, because like I said, I had.
Oh, so it was like you said $7.
Whatever 10-piece McNuggets were, $7-8, and then because I had enough, because it was a deal on the app. Boom, Big Mac salad.
Okay. Free. I mean, I don't think I'm going to live to see the day where I have a McDonald's app on my phone. I mean, that's just
Mike.
I don't know.
I'm telling you, you get this Big Mac salad, and I'll be honest. Next time, I won't get the extra patty. You didn't need it. Didn't need it.
Right.
Have one of those, you'll be like, whoa. Again,
well, yeah,
it's the healthiest salad in the world.
Okay.
It's way better than the dopey half loaf of bread they always have with it, and it falls apart on the plate anyway.
Yeah,
but might as well start that way.
Well, yeah, I might just have to get the app just to go down this road, to be your content bro.
Yeah,
and
do the right thing, bro.
see what you're raving about, because
if you're getting the McNuggets and you don't want to use their Big Mac sauce, you get a little ranch or whatever with the nuggets, pour that on the Big Mac salad.
Mm-hmm.
I can't solve all the McDonald's problems, but I feel like I did for this one.
Well, like I said, I got the 6-piece nuggets. Then I headed down Route 9 just to my Chinese
Highway
place.
9?
No, Route 9. And picked up some I got the 5 chicken tenders, chicken fingers. Yeah, what is the difference between a tender and a finger? Do we know? Is
Well,
there
tenders usually they are a little like oblong.
Okay.
It's kind of whatever.
Yeah. I think they called them chicken fingers on the menu. So I got 5 chicken fingers, and I figured I'd try their French fries.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, on my journey, I pretty much killed the McDonald's French fries because you have to eat them hot.
Mm-hmm.
They're once they go cold, they're done.
Yeah.
But so those were gone, and I brought everything home. For me, the experience was the complete opposite. The chicken McNuggets were terrible. They look like, they were just thawed after being in the freezer for 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they just really had like barely there. But I'll say this, the meat wasn't terrible. I did a cross-section photo I'll post tomorrow of the
beautiful
meat, because sometimes you get those gray ones, right? You bite into it and then there's something gray on the inside, and it was white meat. I didn't cross section every one. But yeah, I would say the McNugget that I cross section was all white meat. But the chicken fingers that I got from the Chinese takeout was excellent. And here's the difference.
Surprise. What a surprise.
Well, here's the difference. Moisture. The meat in the chicken fingers was moist.
Yeah.
The chicken in McNugget is it ever moist? It's always.
Mine were today, but it's a crapshoot. Sometimes they are, sometimes they're not.
Okay.
Whereas the Chinese McNuggets, every time I get them when they fantastic.
I mean, I couldn't remember the last time I had McNuggets when I was sober. It's usually a late night meal. I've had a few, and it's not a terribly enjoyable experience. And it was even worse being sober. I think I only had 2, and I'm like, all right, I'll save these for later. I could just throw
they get
in.
better after they've been sitting around for a while. Don't worry about it. Let them age a little bit.
I mean, I had to eat the burger, because
yeah.
I mean, you can reanimate a burger in a microwave for about 30 seconds, but it's not the same.
Yeah, you can add more. You can add mayo or whatever to get a little moisture.
The burger was fine.
Nuggets are kind of a crapshoot.
The burger was fine.
There was no Big Mac salad.
No, it was no Big Mac salad. So if we're tallying this up, you're saying 1 for well, you didn't go to a Chinese takeout, but would you say these McDonald's rivaled just because they were the best batch you ever got? Or
this particular batch I would put up with, I don't want to say average, but 90% of the chicken nuggets I've gotten from I've had pretty much 30 different restaurants because I just kind of randomly, with rare exception, they challenged them, but not better.
Okay.
But up there.
All right. Okay.
But that just tells you how great just the normal chicken nuggets from these Chinese restaurants I've been getting are.
Yeah.
Which strengthens the case. Now, see what the problem is. I'm still so excited about these McDonald's McNuggets, and it's right by the train on the metro, and I'm going home. I'm probably going to go, let me dip in there and get another 6er, and they're going to be terrible, and I'll totally ruin it this whole day of the McNuggets. But yeah, McDonald's McNuggets at their absolute best rival everyday Chinese nuggets that I've had over the last year.
Okay, so it's a high bar that McDonald's has to meet to attain the same level. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And I find it hard to believe that my next 10 tries with McNuggets will be anywhere near.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the next 10 times I get them from a Chinese place, I bet 9 of them will be fantastic.
I think maybe you have to go there when certain managers are there. You have to figure out like when the best time to go is.
Yeah.
And
I mean, mine was like at 11:30. So because you think, well, maybe the changeover from breakfast to lunch, maybe that's the perfect time. But I think it's just random.
Yeah.
You got to get lucky. I got lucky. Hey, I got lucky. How many times can I say that? So far, one.
Uh-huh. Well, Halloween was a bust. I don't know about you.
I guess that's all the food talk. So our cherished listener,
should we bid them goodbye?
Yeah, bid them goodbye because they sounds like they have amazing, busy things. This person can go back to curing cancer, I guess. So thank you for listening, kind listener. Sorry we burdened you with this.
We send this episode out to you. We were thinking of you.
So sorry.
We do not want to prolong the quest for the cure for cancer.
Yeah, they got better things to do. I get it.
This podcast is not that important.
No, date night. He's got date night, curing cancer. I get it.
Yeah.
So, and also, I'm sorry, I keep cutting you off. I want to say,
what happens every week.
Sorry, big Mike greetings once again from my nephew. What's made Mike's so great. You know what this? And this is gonna be it for this nephew talk. This is why the phrase "this little shit" was invented. You know what he said to me?
What do you say?
He said, "Don't worry, you're pretty funny sometimes too." I was like, but and again,
you should have said to him, "Well, Mike thinks you're funny." He's laughing through the show, right?
You know what? That is so right. And no wonder the kid loves you. No wonder he looks up to you. Mike this, Mike that. All right, so greetings once again.
Is he quoting any of my lines? Is he throwing quotes back to you? Anything like that?
Well, like I said, there's also that delicate balance. He doesn't want to let on that he listens.
Okay.
Because
the old guy, he's a kid.
My uncle, the
old guy stuff. Yeah,
but he wants to give me the business. But hey, big Mike fan.
Big Mike fan. Okay,
there you go. So sorry.
Yeah, that's Patrick, right?
We'll have to redact that name. Patty Mac, as in Big Mac, as in Patty Mac, a Big Mac salad. See what we did there?
Yeah. Oh. It's synergy.
So okay. Sorry.
Yeah. Can I move on?
I have a little Halloween story. Whenever you want. So.
Okay. Well, yeah, Halloween was a bust for me. I mean, last year, I believe it was on a Sunday. Was it last year or something? And
I don't remember days of the calendar from a year ago.
It was pretty busy all day. So I wanted to be prepared. I mean, I was prepared last year. But you don't want to be
busy with trick-or-treaters?
Yeah. Last year I got a fair amount, but it was all day. They didn't have school. So, I knew there would be less, but I wasn't expecting what happened this year. I don't think I had 10 trick-or-treaters.
No, nobody. They don't go door to door anymore.
They did last year, and they go with their parents for the most part. There was some older kids running around, and actually, there was one group of guys, mostly guys. Yeah. Well, they were all guys, but they were a little older. They must have been, 12, 13 in there, and they're running from door to door. It was
young punks.
They had a lot of energy, and I see them, zigzagging and so on. And so I'm standing at the door waiting for them to come up my driveway, and they blew me off.
Ooh.
I had that happen a couple times.
Ouch.
And it's like, is this from last year? They've crossed me off their
Did you give out raisins last year?
No.
You
I
want a
did not.
list?
I gave out the good stuff. So, and that happened more than once where, you know, when I was trick or treating, you bounce back and forth. There was this one group, their strategy was to go up one side of the street and then come down the other side, which seems like a lot of extra legwork, but I don't know. People have their different strategies. But this year I saw lots of people skipping. And I think it may have had to do with my friend was busting my chops, saying that I had no Halloween decorations up, and maybe that was giving off bad juju, and that's why people were skipping me. But now I'm stuck with all this candy.
I'm sorry, buddy. Gee,
Yeah.
that's terrible. Sorry to hear that.
I mean, you know, I got the good stuff. It won't go to waste, but you know, I had candy for breakfast this morning.
I have a new favorite candy bar. Speaking of which,
What's that?
I stumbled into it in the back section, like the last checkout counter area. I don't even know why I was there one night. I don't even like Twix. Like, I don't think of Twix, but this is Twix cookies and cream, or cookie dough. So instead of the dopey caramel on top of the cookie, it's cookie dough.
Yeah, never heard of that one.
I brought them in the office. I'm throwing them around. I'm the office hero. Amazing. Went back last night, couldn't find them. I've never approached someone at a grocery store and asked them to go in the back to look for shit. I think that might happen tonight.
Yeah. Was that your Halloween story, or was there another one?
Well, I would hope that wasn't it. I mean, nice tone, by the way. No. So all month, this down the hall, my apartment building, they have somebody put out by their door these 3 little pumpkins, and they're decorated. They got funny faces and googly eyes, and it looks like kids had done it. I don't know who lives there. I never see people, but it looked like kids had done it. It was really fun and nice, and every day when I walked by, it gave me a little smile, like a nice little boost. And so finally, the other day, last Thursday or Friday, I was like, because, you know, part of my last 6 months, a year, or whatever, has been trying to step out and interact, like be a positive. Like, I used to think even if I liked some random thing on Twitter, like the universe would be like, what the fuck? Who's this asshole? Who does he think he is? Liking whatever. I was like, nobody wants to hear from me. Good job or nice or whatever. But I've been trying this year to be put a little more positivity out in the universe. Right. You're welcome for that, by the way. So I was like, why don't I leave a note for put a note on the door saying how great this is, anonymously.
Right.
I mean, hoping I get busted doing my good deed, but but so I made a little note. I said, thank you for these pumpkins. They make make me smile every time I see them, whatever. Put it on the door, scurried away, hoping the video cameras caught me. So I'm like, I felt good. I'm thinking they're gonna feel good. Everybody's happy. A couple hours later, I go back, walk by. Pumpkins are gone. Gone.
Okay.
My note's gone. The pumpkins are gone. I thought I was going to cry. I'm like, I'm doing the note in my head. I'm like, did they think I was somehow telling them to fuck off with the pumpkins?
They thought you were.
I spent all weekend curled up in a ball thinking, what happened? Like, how did this happen?
I'll tell you what happened. They thought you were a pumpkin stalker.
Well, I would have stolen the pumpkin.
They wanted to protect their pumpkins. That's how it starts. That's how it starts, with a little note. Next thing you know, you're trying to shoot the president.
Oh, well, that's. I'd say that's a leap, but I don't know. If we're cooking, we got some ideas cooking. Are we scheming? So, thankfully, all of a sudden yesterday, I come home. Pumpkins are back.
Oh, okay.
Unchanged. They were exactly where they were. Did they bring the pumpkins in for the weekend? Have a discussion? Do we put these pumpkins out again for these?
Do we trust this note writer to not smash the pumpkins?
So yeah.
Now, wait a second. What was it? Mischief night when they took them away?
No, they took it away. I think I did this Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So they were gone for
The
4 days.
weekend.
Whatever.
Okay.
And I did it in the morning, like 10:30 in the morning. I was walking by,
Well,
and so then I was like, is this what happens when I try to put a little positivity out in the world? But boom, it's like
well,
it's
no,
as
you
if
have to you have
it's
to
a
follow
trigger.
it up. You have to follow it up with the awkward
What if I leave
apology.
another
No,
note?
no, no, not another note. You have to knock on the door and
Oh,
then
that's not creep. Oh, that's not stalking.
just have this awkward conversation where you apologize
Yeah, they'll move out of the building.
with a
A
note.
nice friendly note with a smiley face scare them off.
Oh, you put a smiley face on
Of
it.
course I did.
Well, that is the international symbol of creepiness. Come on, everybody knows that.
Oh,
The smiley face. That's where you went
no,
wrong.
it was
That's where
not.
you went wrong.
I should have taken a photo of it, but I was so happy. I was like, oh, these kids are going to be so happy,
Mm-hmm.
because I know what it's like to do shit and nobody cares.
Mm-hmm.
I was griping about it last year. Put shit out there, nobody cares. So I was like, well, this will be nice to get a little boost from some random stranger, but how much? Nothing. But it's like it was a car and it was sent back to the shop for a couple of days, and now their pumpkins are back.
Uh-huh. They weren't carved.
What's going to be funny is about 2 weeks if the pumpkins are still there, I should leave a note. Can you get these fucking pumpkins out of the hallway? Halloween's over. So what do you make of that? Like,
and then you put a sad face at the bottom.
Frowny face.
Frowny face.
And that's when I'll get busted. That's when somebody will see me. Not for the first good note, but for these pumpkins. That's when the security cameras catch me. Wow.
You have no idea what people live in this apartment.
No.
You've never seen kids. You've never seen adults.
Mm-mm.
Wow. That's weird. I mean, how many apartments in this building?
I mean, it's 7 floors. It's a big building.
Yeah, that's a pretty big building.
I don't know. It's a pretty new building. I don't think it's full, but so yeah, at first, so it went from like these people think I'm an asshole to now just a total mystery. And now you want me to go knock on their door.
Yeah, you got to knock on the door. You have to apologize.
For being friendly?
No, apologize that maybe they misunderstood your note. You were just trying to put some positive energy out there. Just go all awkward, Chris Farley like.
But they did put the pumpkins back, so it's not like they were totally.
Yeah. Well, nothing bad happened. They had to wait it out. They thought maybe there was imminent danger. And once 2 days passed, they felt it was safe again. Now, were these carved? Were they jack-o'-lanterns or?
They were small. No, they weren't carved.
They were painted.
Small. You can tell the kids had painted and put eyes on them, and they were funny. And cute,
Yeah.
Yeah. My next note's not going to be so cute. Get these goddamn pumpkins out of my hallway.
I bungled my neighbor's relations one time. There were only six apartments in my building, 3 floors, and there was a new couple had moved in downstairs, and I guess they were trying to be friendly. And the thing about my Bayonne existence, I would leave on the weekends a lot of times, so I wouldn't be there for a couple of days. Mm-hmm. I wasn't there 24/7. I go back and forth to Howell. Mm-hmm. And so I guess one day I wasn't there. They left me a mason jar full of eggnog around Christmas. Mm-hmm. I'm not an eggnog guy. I mean, it was a nice little ribbon on it. And I think I bungled it. I didn't, I should have followed up and went downstairs and knocked and said, hey, thanks for that,
Would have been the right thing to do.
It's one of those things you just never get around to it. I was always friendly when I'd run into him in the hallway and stuff.
But after that window closed, then it was awkward because then it becomes too late to thank them.
Uh-huh.
It's like when a woman's pregnant and you're not sure whether to say anything because you're not 100% sure she is pregnant, and then the window's closed.
Mm-hmm. But then, yeah, things deteriorated. I guess it was that bad start to them living in the building that I may not have been the ideal. I was watching, yeah, it was a believe it or not, it was a bootleg DVD of a Star Wars movie one night, and it was relatively late, but I didn't think the television was that loud.
Uh-huh.
But I got the bang at the door. No, actually, it wasn't even a bang. It was a little note. Slid under the door, not attached to the door, under the door. So that's weird when something comes sliding into your apartment. I saw it and I was like, oh shit. I turned it down. I mean, I guess the music starts blasting in those movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess they couldn't take all that. Who's the guy who does the soundtracks for those movies? I can't remember.
John Williams?
Yeah, or you can tell me in the comments, but yeah, John Williams, I think.
I mean, I gotta say, I hate to say it, but right now I'm on team them. I mean,
yeah, no, I'm acknowledging my bad behavior, and this is my way of coming clean.
Yeah,
and
sure they'll appreciate it.
But then the last interaction was the worst, where apparently there was a pipe burst, from, and this was in the middle of the night. This was late. I'm thinking like 1, 2 in the morning, and the water was coming down from their ceiling in their bathroom,
mm-hmm.
and I guess they thought I was running water to cause it. I wasn't,
mm-hmm.
but they started pounding on the door. Even there was some shouting. Because there was an emergency going on in their bathroom with water coming through the ceiling,
mm-hmm.
and I pretended I wasn't there.
Oh God!
Another bad.
Wow.
I after a certain time at night, knocking on the door just freaks me out. I don't want to have interactions with people late at night.
Well, how did you eventually find out about it? You must have had a conversation with him.
Well, he did what he had to do. He had to call the landlord, and the landlord had to fix stuff. It was predominantly in his apartment, not mine.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I wasn't, I didn't overflow the bathtub or anything. I didn't cause the flood. It was just the pipe itself went. But so yeah, and then the next thing I knew, they moved out, and then that was.
If I did that shit, I gave you nice, and then I would seethe for years at you.
Yeah, no, I'm acknowledging my bad behavior, and maybe people will hear my story and hear your story. And,
what could I have possibly done wrong? Like, let's see it through your eyes.
No, I just told you where you went wrong. You went wrong with that smiley face.
Oh.
That's that is the international symbol of the creep. You just don't do it.
Oh, this is a nice note. This is so. Oh, this makes. Oh, smile. Fuck this.
Yeah.
Bring in the pumpkins, kids. Bring them in.
Yeah.
We're moving.
The kids were worried. I thought you were going to find pieces of the letter torn up in the hallway.
But I guess
when you told us
about it for 3 days and then said, "Okay, we'll put the pumpkins back out there."
Yeah, like I said, they thought there was imminent danger, and once there weren't any more notes, that the notes didn't accelerate. They felt safe again.
Should this stop me? Because I even find because I have decided over the last year, for all the negative shit that's on social media and that we hear about, and rightfully so, I do like to put a little positive thing out there in the universe, even though nothing ever comes with it, of it or whatever. Should I stop that after this incident?
No. Just like I said,
no smiley face.
No smiley face. That's the only thing you did wrong. You went too far.
That's gonna eat away at me, Mike. That's my night, staring at the ceiling.
I've seen your smiley faces before.
Excuse me?
Well, the emojis. You use emojis more than anybody else I know.
Thank you, Mike. You didn't have to say that. That's nice of you to say.
You are Mr. Emoji.
I am. Because I can, even if I tell somebody, hey, come over, I have $40 million to give you. I always feel like if I don't put a little smiley at the end, they're still gonna be like, what? Fuck this asshole. So if always, no matter what the message is, if I don't put a little smiley, they're gonna be, you know what, go to hell. I'm not dialing back my smileys, Mike. Although maybe handwritten ones that I stick on strangers' doors.
The best emoji I've ever discovered. Did you know there's an emoji for a hole in the ground? Right. Most people. Why would you even need an emoji for a hole in the ground? Right.
What is that, for like a grave? What is that?
Well, it's just a hole. It's if you type in on your phone the word hole, you'll see this emoji pop up, and it's it's just like a little hole. And one time we discovered it, me and a friend of mine. We were talking about a guy I went to school with. He had passed away, and but he was known for a scandal. He had a he had a pool business. Listen to this one.
My beady little ears are perking up.
People just have gall that they can pull this stuff off. He had a business where he was doing in the ground pools, and he would get the money from the customers, up front. He would dig a hole in their backyard for the pool, which is a sizable hole. And then he would disappear with their money.
Pretty good gig. How long did this last before?
Well, it lasted long enough till he ended up on the front page of the Asbury Park Press when he got arrested.
Not a front page you want to be on.
I don't know how it all ended, whether he just had to pay fines for the rest of his life or whatever. But so when he passed away, my friend was notifying me, and he said, "Rest in peace," the guy's name, and then he he left the whole emoji.
That seems like it was made up specifically for him.
Yeah. No, I was dying. I mean, when I saw it, I was like, what the hell is it? I didn't even know what it was.
Wow.
And then he explained it to me. But it was that was hysterical. So we use that emoji quite a bit now.
I'm gonna look for that one.
The whole emoji. Look it up, people.
Whole emoji and knock it off with a smiley emoji.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
Yeah.
Can we put a capper on Halloween did I tell you about my Twilight Zone month?
Oh yeah, how's that going?
Terribly.
Oh yeah.
So I ended up watching the first 5 episodes. I don't know how this thing became so big and popular.
Okay.
Total snooze fest.
Really? Okay.
The only interesting parts are the cool black and white video, and then figuring out any like future famous people or what, like the one, what happened, like the main character, the one last night. I'm like, oh, who's this guy? Boom. Years later, after this, he did a murder suicide with his wife. I was like, oh, well, that's
boy, wow.
But none of these episodes was remotely interesting.
Oh, was that Gig Young?
Sorry,
was it Gig Young?
Yes.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, you're a superstar. You're the Twilight Zone star, right? You're a fan, right?
Well, no, I was thinking of doing what you're doing. I mean, they were always on in the background when I was a kid, but I never sat down to watch, the full seasons now that you can watch them.
Well, let me posit something.
Okay.
So last or 2 years ago, when for October I did my thing where I read an Edgar Allan Poe short story every day. And I noticed, I think there's a reason that every kid in school reads the same 3 over and over. Whatever.
Let me see if I can name them. Let me see.
I said 3, 4, whatever it is.
I'm gonna say my top 3.
Okay.
Telltale Heart, Pit and the Pendulum,
Yeah.
Cask, and I can never pronounce this
Cask
word.
of Amontillado.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, so those were 3 out of like 30 I read, and I noticed those 3 were great. The other 27 kind of sucked.
Now, the Fall of the House of Usher should be in the top.
That's
5.
a good, yes. And I'm being a little facetious, but most of them suck. And so it dawned on me then, I was like, I guess there's a reason we talk about the same 3 or 4 over and over. And so then I'm watching these and I notice, anytime there's eclipse of like, oh, Twilight Zone's great, you see the one with William Shatner. You see the one with the guy who he has all the books in the world, but then his glasses break or whatever.
Yeah.
So now I'm wondering, I think there's a reason we see the same. It's like the same reason we see the same 5 SNL clips over and over.
Yeah.
I did a deep dive on that a couple months ago. I'm sure you remember. You're a big fan. Thanks for if you go in and watch just every one's whatever, most of them are kind of terrible.
Yeah.
There's a reason we see the same 5 clips over and over. I think there's a reason we see the same 5 Twilight Zone episodes over and over. Most of them are terrible.
Wow. Okay.
I like Rod Serling. I admire the fact that he wrote these and cranked them out. And there's a nice quality to them. But I don't know how these things made the leap from these 5 episodes to like cultural whatever. That's my thesis. You're the expert on Twilight Zone. I cede the floor to you.
No, I'm not an expert by any means, but maybe you could be a night gallery guy.
What's that?
That came afterwards, and I think that was more in the vein of not just being weird paranormal stuff like Twilight Zone, but I think it was more horror.
Is that him?
Yeah, it's Rod Serling. Yeah.
Okay.
I think he did that. He did it after Twilight Zone.
Okay.
And I think it was the same.
You knew the actor. I mean, wow. I think you're being humble about your knowledge here, Mike. Come on now.
No, I just happened to read when I stumbled. I just these you go down these rabbit holes on YouTube, and I stumbled upon some video about the 20 worst celebrity alcoholics. and Gig Young was number 1 because
really?
Because he had the murder suicide, which it's hard to top. You
think he knew he was like in the top 10, but he wanted to get to number 1?
No,
I think he's like, I can't.
This YouTube video was long after he had passed away. But he wasn't a great movie called They Shoot Horses, Don't They? Ever hear that movie?
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it. Who is that? That's
He's the I guess the MC. It's a movie about dance marathons was a thing.
Who's the director? I feel like there's a name that
I can't think of the director offhand. But it was nominated.
Can I bother you to talk for 5 seconds? I'm going to raise this blind. I think it's making my thing fuzzy.
Okay.
Sorry.
But I haven't seen the movie in a while, but I remember it was a pretty good movie.
What if when I pull this up, there's a naked woman standing behind it?
That would be something, right?
Wow. Of course I wouldn't do that. I know you like to keep this a family show. Of course I would do.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this is no better, but
no,
okay.
It's the same fuzziness. Yeah, no, I'm looking at it, but it's a grainy quality. Your segment on this call was shot on film. It's not a digital.
Is that what we're telling people?
That's what we're telling people.
Can we tell them I insist?
Shot on film. 16 millimeter. 16 millimeter. But anyway,
should I suck it up and keep going with the Twilight Zone, or like if I don't love it by now?
No, if you're done, you're done. I mean, I don't think you should belabor the point. I mean, I continued watching some horror related stuff on Turner Classic Movies.
I'm sorry, I'm putting the blind back down again. Sorry. Sorry, naked woman.
I watched Poltergeist.
I've never seen Poltergeist.
Oh, you've never seen it?
I mean, I know about the little girl dying. She was on Happy Days.
Yeah. Heather O'Rourke, I believe her name was.
Yeah. Fonzie's woman's girl.
Okay. Well,
bright.
I didn't remember that detail, but I watched the movie. I saw it when it came out, 1982. And I didn't remember it fondly. It's just like I remember going to see it with a few friends, and it was what it was. But I haven't thought about it since. So it was on. I'm like, well, let me give it another shot. Maybe I wasn't in the right frame of mind, but I don't think it's aged that well. They get a lot of mileage with skeletons popping up out of the ground. They give you a fake out ending. You think the movie's over, but it's not. You then they pull out all the stops.
Right, give me a warning.
They pull out all the stops for the grand finale, and
was that Spielberg? Who was that?
Well, there's a debate raging about it. Yeah, he produced it. Toby Hooper, the guy who did Texas Chainsaw Massacre, is credited as the director. But they said that Spielberg had a hand in, may have done a lot of it. I don't know. People think of it fondly. They have it's got its fans out there.
It's always on whatever list. So yeah,
maybe you should check it out. I'd be curious to see what you think. Craig T. Nelson's in it.
Coach.
And he's got a weird part. He's like a sort of a goofy guy in the beginning of the movie, and then once the shit hits the fan, he kind of fades into the back, and he's just kind of mute through a good part of the movie because I guess he's in shock. I don't know what his choice was there, where he's like barely a part of the action anymore. But it's got I guess the highlight for me is she's not called an exorcist, but she's, I guess, sort of yeah, like a medium. She's going to come in and clean the house of these ghosts and get the young girl out of the TV. And she's successful with that. Yeah, it makes no sense at all. Like most,
you're doing a great job of selling it, Mike.
Like most horror movies, it's all about the music.
That's why The Omen is so good. Like
the pounding music in the background creates the whole atmosphere. Same with The Exorcist too. That music is.
The Omen doesn't need any footage or video. You just start that music. I'm running around flipping light switches on. It's hard to believe something's more terrifying than The Omen.
Well, I saw my youngest brother terrified by the music in Jaws. When Jaws came out, we went to see it.
Yeah.
And it was too much for my youngest brother. He literally left the theater. But guess what he was doing? He wasn't covering his eyes like you would assume.
Covering his ears.
He was covering his ears. Yeah. Which is like, wow, okay.
That's a compliment to John Williams.
Yeah. The music was driving him nuts. Get out of there.
That whole dun 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 is such a joke now. You forget how scary it probably was.
Yeah. No, like I said, that was my experience with my younger brother when we saw it.
Yeah. The Omen is still number one for me.
And he was very young at the time. I think he was only like 10 or so, which is pretty young to be seeing Jaws.
Tough to beat The Omen.
But I also watched, just as a goof, did you have any experience with the Bowery Boys?
No.
No? Never saw the Bowery Boys?
Hunt's
Hall, Leo Gorcey, Satch and Mahoney.
It's not what's his face. Angels Have Dirty Faces.
Well, they were around originally as the Dead End Kids.
Dead End Kids.
Yes, that was their early phase, and then they became the Bowery Boys later in the 50s. And this movie was directed by a guy who was involved with the Three Stooges, and it's kind of apparent when you watch it. There were some laugh out loud moments in it. I was like, I'm just going to go with this. It's silly nonsense. But, when I was younger, the Bowery Boys were always on after we got home from church. So we just got into this mode of watching the Bowery Boys when we got home. So I have a little place in my heart for the Bowery Boys, and I wanted to see if it holds up. And it was okay. It was goofy, it was goofy, but I laughed out loud a couple times.
The Dead End Kids is a lead off track by probably the best band that was in Oxford, Mississippi when I lived there, the Neckbones.
Oh yeah, they were good. Yeah, I like the Neckbones.
Tyler Keith. I sold before I left Oxford, I sold him I had a bass amp and I sold it to him. So that's my, if they ever, making the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I'll probably be up there with them.
They still out there?
I have no idea. This was 100 years ago.
Yeah,
That's a great album opener, Dead End Kids. But Bowery Boys. I mean, hey,
Bowery Boys.
I'm pretending to write that down.
Still out there. I don't know if it's still out there. Did you go to church today?
For what?
It's All Saints Day.
No, the only time you'll ever see me in a church again is funerals.
Not even for weddings. You're straight to the reception hall.
Weddings.
No, there are people like that.
If I could get away with it, yes.
No, there are lots of people go that route. See you at the reception hall.
Can you do that?
Yeah, you've never done that?
No.
Yeah, I've done it.
How do you do that? Can I start to see, like, I have a fear of churches? Can I start doing that? Like,
yeah. No, today is a holy day of obligation. You remember
went to church?
No, I didn't go to church, but
okay. Well, excuse me of not going.
It is All Saints Day, and we're two ex-Catholics.
Yeah. Weddings and funerals, including my own, and that's it.
Including your own. You're not going to. You do want a send off from the church.
That's a good point. If they even have a funeral for me, which what do I care? So,
well,
who am I joking? I have an elaborate 4-day celebration plan, which I've mapped out here 1,000 times. So.
Well, today is All Saints Day. Tomorrow is All Souls Day. I was talking to a friend of mine, and we're like, well, are they the same thing? No, they're not the same thing. All Saints Day is a holy day of obligation. And
aren't all holy days an obligation? Isn't all going to church an obligation?
Well, no, those days you have to go,
But you didn't go?
Well, no. I got a letter in the mail, though. They want me to come out tomorrow.
They're recruiting you?
Well, they know my father has passed away, and they know they've lost his gifts every week. So they're trying to lure me in. Tomorrow is All Souls. Well, All Saints Day is they commemorate all the saints. Huh? Do you know how many saints there are?
There's no number you could tell me that I would be surprised.
Ballpark figure? Throw a guess out there. I mean, it's hard. It's hard to become a saint. I mean, it's it's like getting into the Hall of Fame. The baseball.
Well, how about remember like 10 years ago, John Paul? He had his big day, but he had to share it with someone else.
Yeah,
they celebrated them both. I was like, hold on, I'm a fucking saint,
right?
Share it with some other
both, yeah,
because you want to save money on the catering or whatever.
Yeah, well, that's why I'm saying it's like the Hall of Fame. They throw in a couple guys every year. But All Souls Day is for just your ordinary Joes who died. And so if I go to church tomorrow, I guess my father's name will be read out as part of the list of people who passed away this year.
Are you going?
No. No, they burned a bridge. They burned a bridge when that.
Is this the eggnog people?
when that priest stole my he plagiarized.
I remember.
I wrote a tribute for the website of the funeral home, and this priest who knew my father would sit in the front row. He's looking at this guy every week for years. My father went to church every week, his whole life. And this priest couldn't come up with something personal to talk about. My father would talk to this guy. My father he talked to the priest after mass. So I felt like, wow, this guy, he's kind of plagiarist.
Is there a way that we can make it so that you going to church is sticking it to him? Can we find the way to?
Well, I guess I could take one of the envelopes and maybe put in a nasty note
with a smiley face at the end.
With a smiley face at the end.
He'll be like laughing, like, fuck Mike. Whoa, smiley face. Oh boy,
yeah,
I've stepped in it somehow.
But
Then
it's got,
amends.
but the envelopes have your address on it, so
hey, you tell him, come find me.
I couldn't do it anonymously.
The priest, what's he gonna do?
Yeah, but
you keep setting it up as if you're gonna go, and I'm a shitty person for not going, and then you're not going.
No, I'm interested in your spiritual life.
There is not.
You. I know you're not. How long have you been removed from the church? Most of your life.
Most of my life, yeah. I've never. Yeah.
You went to catechism up to 6th grade.
I did everything you were supposed to do.
Confirmation.
Showed up every Sunday, even after, when my brother got older, he got his license, and we had a job on the weekend, so we'd go to the early mass.
Mm-hmm.
He and I would still be the first ones every Sunday. Mm-hmm. Would turn on the lights. Then he goes to college. All of a sudden, somehow the next year, I find myself going to church by myself. Like, what the hell am I doing? Like, I don't even want to be. And I'm still there. I'm the first one there. Boom. Every Sunday, clockwork. I did everything you were supposed to do. Fine.
I have gone to church by myself. It's not a big deal. But one of my friends, he liked to hang out in the back, rather than sit down in the pews. He liked to hang out, stand in the back of the church. He was there to possibly pick up women, and maybe this is something which might get you back to the church.
Well, I do have to admit, I did have an experience. When my goddaughter was born, I was told to be the godparent, because like her mother's actually Catholic, so I had to go, and this I was still in Williamsburg, still in Brooklyn. I had to join a church, and so I had to meet the priest. So
yeah, there's requirements.
I go meet the priest. I liked him. He was like a young guy.
Mm-hmm.
And his big thing was, don't do this thing where as soon as I give you the okay, you skip town or whatever. I'm like, no. And so I went, and I started going on Sundays, because I realized that it's different when you're an adult. Number one, I liked having something to do, to get out, dress up a little bit,
mm-hmm.
go out, have something to do on a Sunday morning.
It is a social event. And
it is different when it was the first time I'd ever gone as an adult. If I were to leave, I can just leave.
Mm-hmm.
No one's telling, I'm not sweating it with the clip-on tie and the polyester brown suit, and there for us. So, and he was very, he wasn't like scary Catholic priest. He was he was like, hey, let's just be nice to each other.
He's like a bro. He's like the bro priest.
Yeah. And so I went for a couple of weeks, and I was like, this is actually nice. I'm not buying into God stuff. I don't care about any of the religion stuff, but I liked going. It's a nice thing, part of my week. And I'd see him, and he'd be like, hey, good to see you. Da-da-da. How's the God? Da-ba-ba-ba. And then, of course, 6 weeks later, I moved away forever, down away from Brooklyn. So,
okay.
So then sometimes I would wonder, I was like, does he think of me? I'm like, that asshole, I knew he'd skip. I wanted to tell him, hey, I didn't know I was moving but of course, I'm sure he didn't think of me. But
they must see that all the time, though.
I'm sure.
The worst offenders are the holiday Catholics.
Yeah.
Who go.
Don't get me.
Who go
biggest,
twice a year.
Yeah.
And
yeah. Unless I get dragged there.
Christmas and Easter, and then they're on pause the rest of the year.
Those people are so full of shit. It's like
it's weird. It's it's but to each his own, right? I mean,
each his own.
If
you have a wedding or a funeral, I'll show up. I'll be on time. Other than that, no, not doing it. Although my last book takes place at a church.
Yeah, there's lots of church action in there. Did you pick a church out as a model? Did you go to a church and think, get some of the details in,
It's definitely in my head. It's set in the church I grew up in, like anybody, I think, who would write a book. I think you have that frozen in time.
I think
that church doesn't even exist anymore. But I have in my head what it is. So it's definitely the church of my youth.
Yeah. And we're talking about the wedding party.
The wedding parties.
Still parties. I do that all the time. Parties. Okay. Yeah. There's 2 wedding parties, but it's one wedding.
You're digging yourself deeper, Mike. Don't try.
It's you know what? But when I read that, I'm gonna give you a compliment here. Get ready. when I
Elizabeth,
when I read that, I thought the biggest stretch was the what's the beanbag game? What's that called?
Cornhole.
Cornhole. All right. So cornhole figures prominently in this story, and I'm like, well, that's a bit of a stretch, you know. And then what do we have in Maine? You know, some guy went nuts over cornhole. So
maybe he'll buy my book.
He's gone.
If I was writing it today, it'd be pickleball. But
well, and you know, you brought it up, so I have to go there now. Matthew Perry's last day was spent playing pickleball.
Was it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
He had just gone, he played a couple hours of pickleball, came home, got in the hot tub, and
have they determined the cause of death yet?
Well,
I mean, I know he had his troubles, but
he drowned. He was found underwater.
But did he have a heart attack? Or
well, yeah, I'm thinking it's possibly that. You know, they've ruled out, you know, illegal drugs, but you know, he did have prescription drugs, and that could have effects on people. But we're not going to know that for months. I don't know if you saw my tweet. These backhanded condolences you see.
Yes.
You know, and it's
You're
like
100% right.
Yeah. I mean, I saw people saying, never a fan of the show. But rest in peace, Matthew Perry. It's like, is that necessary? You got to get that out there. I mean, I wasn't a fan of that show. Were you a Friends fan?
No, it's one of those things where it was on. I watched every episode. It was just on Thursday nights. It was just part of your Thursday nights. Seinfeld, Wings, whatever. Cheers. Frasier. Without meaning to, you'd watch all the episodes. It was just a part of your whole thing. Like, but no, I never I have to watch Friends.
I was a Seinfeld fan. You know, that was one of the few sitcoms that I did stick with throughout its duration.
Yeah.
And I guess Friends was introduced following up after Seinfeld, right? The first
it was part of that whole Thursday night thing.
Yeah.
Seinfeld lift.
So I saw that first episode of Friends, and I literally just had I was instantly repulsed by it. I just found the whole setup, you know, these frolicking young people, which, you know, I mean, I was still, when did they come out? The 90s?
94 to 2004.
All right. Well, I was still in my 30s, so I wasn't an old fogey then. You know, I should relate to these young people and their adventures in the city.
I don't know anybody.
I mean, I worked in the city. I had some adventures in the city, but these people just were so obnoxious to me that I never watched it again.
Well, and like I said, it was just a part of the whole zeitgeist. Like without meaning to, you knew everything. But like a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, on a whim, I was like, "Gee, was it a good show?" Like, you know. So I watched an episode, and number one, I don't know anybody who had their friends constantly going in and out of their apartment.
Yeah,
all times. Number two, they were always dressed as if they were about to hit the club. Like they're always meticulously dressed. Like who comes over, plops down on the couch, and it's just. But the most annoying thing was, because whatever you think of it, it was well done. Like you could tell they know what they're doing. They have good writers, great director. Like they know what they're doing. But it got annoying after only a couple of minutes because one of them would say something super funny, and the other 5 would just stare at them, you know. Well, until the laughter dies down. And then someone else would say something funny. And I'm like, that's just so absurd. Like, nobody ever laughs. Somebody just drops like the boom, and everyone's. So it was just, I don't know if I made it through the episode. It was unwatchable. But again, I'm not shitting on it. I mean, it was such a part of everybody's lives forever, and it was well done. And you'd have to say the cast was great. Yeah, but I never in my life have gone out of my way to watch an episode. So, but if you had to guess who would have been the first one to die, because there's 6 people, one of them's going to die first and one of them's going to die last.
Right.
Would you have had a guess?
Well, his troubles with addiction is well documented. So, I think he even said that when he dies, if he dies young, it'll be a shock, but it won't be a surprise. And I mean, he's quoted as saying that. I didn't read his book. I guess his book came out last year.
Yeah, perfectly timed.
He documented, and it's quite a journey. I mean, I think he was in and out of rehab 15 times, and he said he spent up to $9 million. It's a struggle for people. I mean, I understand that, but
that is the case of like the guy who had everything. It was still trouble. And I also wonder, I haven't seen it pop up, but I wonder if there was something about his dad, because his dad was like a wannabe actor. Like, I think he had some success, but obviously not that kind of success. I don't know if there was some trouble with the father being, a bit.
I don't know enough of the background there.
I don't know enough. I'm just kind of.
I mean, his parents arrived right on the scene when it happened. They lived nearby, so, and I think some of the last photos were him and his father. So I don't know if there was a reconciliation. They seem to be on good terms.
I don't know if there's a fight. I'm just making this up based on, anytime there's like a kind of crappy, unsuccessful actor, but then there's a suit like David Cassidy. He went through that with his father.
Right.
There's a jealous father. I don't know. I'm just totally speculating based on purely nothing. I want to be clear.
Okay.
Other than he was a guest star in an episode of Beverly Hills 90210. Don't pretend you don't know what episode I'm talking about. And the whole gist is he's this teenager, and he's a like tennis prodigy, which he kind of was in real life. Matthew Perry in real life was like some superstar tennis player when he was a teenager.
Okay.
And he goes to saying there's a suicide attempt because he can't live up to his father. His father's a, asshole or whatever. Now, so I don't know if I'm combining that with speculating about his relationship with father, which again, I want to be clear, is based on nothing but rumors I'm hoping to whip around the internet, not based on any information. But very sad. I mean,
yeah. 54 years old is young by today's standards. We'll go from the sublime to the ridiculous. I got my first haircut in Howell.
That is ridiculous. I'm looking at it.
I don't want to end in a downer.
Looks good.
Yeah.
The sides. I like the sides.
Yeah. I don't know. The sides looked a little, how kids today, and there were a couple of kids in the chairs ahead of me.
You just say kids today. Yeah, damn it, Mike, we talked about this.
But no, I'm literally talking about kids. There were youngsters ahead of me, with the barbers. And they're getting all these weird, where it's shaved and then there's a little hair, and it's, whatever kids are into, that's what. So I'm like thinking like, oh, am I going to get some weird 2-tier haircut like these kids? So there was a little concern when I sat.
You should have said, whatever the kid before you, I'll have what he's having. Give me whatever he has.
Well, yeah. But so my friend goes to this barbershop. He gave me the heads up. You got to go on Monday. He told me about and this is weird. This is a place where they don't have no appointments. I thought the whole point is to get a roster of your regulars. I mean, that's the way it worked in Bayonne. And you got an appointment. But here it's all walk-ins. It's the walk-in thing. So it's the luck of the draw.
All the time or just on Monday?
All the time. But my friend has been there a few times, and he's like, yeah, Monday's the day to go. There's 2 guys there. but there's one guy you got to watch out for. This other guy,
Shaky feet.
And he was so right, because the guy he was describing, his chair was open first, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm gonna get this guy. This is the guy I'm supposed to avoid. Mm-hmm. And but then he did what my friend said he does. It's like he's like the unambitious barber. Like, so okay. I'm sitting there, he sees I'm sitting there, and then he goes off in the back, and I'm like, all right, well, maybe he's going to the bathroom. And then, you know, he came out again, and he's lingering. I'm waiting for the call. And no, he just sort of lingered around doing nothing for a while. And then the other guy's chair opened up, and so I went with this other guy. So I think I got one of the good guys. I got his name. I asked for a card. His name is Jan, or Von. They're Russian guys. And but here's the thing. He takes 2 calls in the middle of the haircut.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Come on, Jan.
That was, if he took one more, that would have been.
What are you going to do? Walk out halfway, then half of your head looks like a lunatic? He's got you. Once he starts cutting, he's got you.
Yeah, I mean, this is the difference between Bayonne and Howell. Down here, the barbers take calls, and in the middle of the haircut, you know. So that was 2 strikes against him. If he got the 3rd strike, I think I probably wouldn't go back to him ever again.
Well, looks
he apologized. He apologized. I give him credit for that.
I look forward to seeing the effusive praise from the fans about your cut. Give us a spin. Turn. There you go. The side looks tight. Nice.
He didn't do the mirror in the back. I didn't get a back view. That's the true professional who gives you the back view. Yeah.
Well, he's busy answering the phone every 5 minutes. So. He's got stuff to do. So
he's got to get.
Maybe it's like the guy that left a comment, or he's got shit to do. He can't be, stepping all night.
He's up to Russian wheelings and dealings.
I think maybe I'll get my beard trimmed tomorrow. What do you think?
Oh yeah. You color it? You got some gray in there, bro.
Do I color it?
Yeah, right in here.
It's my silver fox. Silver fox. I don't get any up top. I don't really have any gray up top. But
you go for his soul patch.
I like it. I like it sprinkled in a little bit on the beard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I need a little trim.
Okay. Well, we can look forward to that next week.
Maybe. I like to be elusive.
There are no fortune cookies this week. You want me to catch up with some of my back ones?
What do we got? Used fortune cookies?
People look forward to the fortune cookie.
How about that story going around about what's his face and the Josh McDaniel?
Oh yeah, I meant to bring that up. Tell that story.
I don't even know if it's true, but so Josh McDaniel, head coach of the Raiders, got fired, and now we're hearing this story that apparently he went dressed up for Halloween. He's big into Halloween. That's the thing. He is all in for Halloween, and he goes dress up as one of the owners or whatever.
Yeah, Mark Davis.
And apparently the owner, he got a kick out of it.
Yeah.
He ordered them both. Apparently he has a regular P.F. Chang's order, the owner likes. Yeah. And they're eating it, and they're having a good time. And then he's like, goes Josh McDaniel, says, why don't you open your fortune cookie? The fortune cookie says, "You're fired, hotshot." And I'm like, this is exactly like we dream these fortunes every week. Now, I haven't gotten confirmation that actually happened. I mean, it popped up on a random screen grab on Twitter, so I'm happy to run with it and spread it like wildfire.
It's a good story. That's a good story.
I'm like, that's what we dream about every week on this show. I haven't gotten confirmation that actually happened, but if so, it's like, wow, I would have an oral history. I would have like 300-page oral history on that whole thing. And and let's get him on this show.
I'm going to send this fortune out to you, Greg, with your whole pumpkin story.
I hope somebody's walking by my office right now. I'm crying.
Our deeds determine us.
These nuts? What?
Our deeds determine us as much as we determine our deeds.
Are you trying to talk about the Catholicism again? Because isn't it based on good works and deeds instead of just blind
Yeah.
faith?
I mean, that's a part of it, the
I
spiritual
think
journey.
someone's itching to go back to church. I think you're looking for an excuse to go back, get right with the Lord, Mike.
You've never prayed, been in situations where it's like things are desperate and you're just sort of like, what can a prayer, what harm can it do? Right?
I'm sure I have. Sure.
Oh, okay. All right. You're human.
I just
I'm
don't
not going to
believe it.
hold it against you. No, when I was out of work for a stretch there, I was like, yeah, I'll try the prayer. Let's get anything going,
Here's what the God Squad or even people that just believe don't understand about atheists is like, hey, I'm happy to be proven wrong.
Yeah.
I'd be happy if God showed up and says, hey, whatever. I'd be thrilled.
Right.
So
this whole thing makes sense, right?
Or whatever.
It doesn't seem to make any sense, but hey, I was wrong.
I'm not claiming the point is I don't know. And I can't make myself pretend. So I'm perfectly fine on being wrong. I've been wrong on many things in this life. But no, I'm sure oh shit, get me out of this jam or whatever. So I think you're itching to get back to church, Mike. Hey, I support you. I mean, I'm not going, but I'll support you. I'll do a Zoom. You can Zoom me in.
Yeah, well, yeah, it wouldn't be St. Veronica's. I'd have to find another one.
I had a nice. I have to dig it up, make sure it's family friendly. But back when I was going to this Brooklyn church, I had a really nice. I wrote a lot about it, so I wonder if it's interesting enough to repost. But
okay,
I mean, it's going on 12 years or whatever.
You were the king of the reposter.
What does that mean?
I cannot believe that you like celebrate anniversaries of tweets and now, but you've got something that reminds you that these things happened a year ago, right? So when it's not like you remember all these dates when you tweeted a certain tweet. Oh, okay.
Something will hit. Oh, shouldn't I remember?
I mean, Facebook reminds you of certain things. Yeah.
But if it's like 15 years ago, I assume first of all, nobody gave a shit and read it in the first place. This isn't like Steinbeck putting out Grapes of Wrath every year.
No, I'm
like they happy. Didn't see it 15 years ago. They didn't give a shit then. Maybe they will this time. I don't know if it's interesting enough. But I'll take your advice and shut up with the link. That's fine. No smiley faces.
No, I'm happy to repost your repostings every time for the most part. Did you hear? I think the new Beatles song leaked.
Yes.
You heard it?
No. Okay. I'm not hearing it. Wait, can you hear it?
I saw somebody posted a link on a board somewhere, but then when I clicked on the link, it was already down. So maybe it was out there for a brief moment.
An hour ago, they dropped this little. I think it's like a 12-minute.
Yeah, I started watching that.
So I'm going to watch that as soon as I'm done with you. And I ordered the single, and it said it was released on the 2nd. But then earlier this afternoon, I got a message that I have a package. So I'm like, is it already there? Is it waiting for me when I get home? Like,
oh, okay. Maybe it shipped early.
I'm going to bawl my eyes out when I do hear this. I can already tell. I know we're different. It's going to be amazing. Although
I didn't know this was literally, they tried to do this when they did the other songs for the documentary.
Yeah, it was a part of the group of songs they went through, but they didn't feel like it was.
Yeah, they did. I guess the technology allowed them to do it now, rather than back then. They couldn't separate the piano from his voice. I started watching a little bit of that little documentary.
You can admit it. You watched it. Come on, you can admit it. You can say. I am disturbed by. Have you seen the cover art?
No, I didn't see that.
That's like the shittiest cover.
Really?
I'm like, yeah, it's terrible.
Is it as bad as the Rolling Stones album? That's pretty bad.
I'm not even looking at that turd.
It's not a turd. Listen to it.
I assume there's a reason, like there's some connection the way it looks. It just looks terrible. It looks like some crappy graphic design student job from like 1982.
You sure it's not some? I mean,
I'm sure there's some meaning to it, and
I mean, John Lennon was known to doodle. You sure it's not a John Lennon doodle?
it's not a doodle. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't seen it.
Just the words, and it looks like, in the old days with a new computer, it's like, oh, here's an application, like templates for. It's like a template. It looks like a Microsoft Word template.
Really? Okay, that's
like,
weird.
hey,
Yeah.
here's a if you want to put out a 1945, it's terrible. Now I'm sure it has meaning, and I'm gonna feel like an idiot, but just on its face, it's like, really?
At least we documented it here, and you'll have another chance to redeem yourself next week. I want to thank everybody for listening. You hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. If you feel generous enough to throw a few bucks our way, if you're enjoying the show that much, it's well appreciated. And one day I will cut a check for Greg. Well, I haven't taken it. I'm waiting for it to build up to a certain number.
Yeah, let it be big enough.
I want to be significant. Yeah, I don't want. I'm not going to nickel and dime you. No. You know, let's get to a significant number, and you get a nice hearty check.
Yeah,
and you can treat yourself to dinner. You know,
make it big enough that I really question your ethics, like how this money came about.
I'll show you a screenshot before I cut the check. The whole thing.
I trust you. Don't worry.
It'll be on the up and up. So until next week, thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We'll see you next week.